Hi everyone, and welcome to the Double Stuff Podcast, where we're double the hosts, double the topics, and double the fun. I'm Charity.
I'm Alan.
I'm Dan.
I'm Sarah.
And we are going to do another amazing podcast episode for you today, but we did want to remind you that this is our last season. So thank you for joining us on this amazing 4-year journey. We hope you laughed with us and cried with us and everything in between.
Got up and danced.
All the things. But today we are going to revisit a couple topics that we were not all present for. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is British comedy. Now, Sarah and I had a great discussion about this, which remind me when this was.
This was about a year ago. It's episode 166 and 167. Or is it 167? Sorry, it's episode 167 and 168. It's called A Giggle and a Gallop, part 1 and 2. And we talked about our favorite British comedians.
Okay, thank you for that, because I would not have given you that much information. So thank you to our resident historian here for the podcast.
Yeah.
But before we kind of dive into talking about what we did a while ago, do you two have any favorite British comedies or comedians? Or is there anyone that really sticks out in your
Jimmy
mind?
Carr.
Yeah, that is a good one. Good one, very good.
He's very good.
I mean, Monty Python. I used
Of
to
course.
watch a lot of the shows
I
and the
tried
movies.
so hard to get into Monty
Yeah.
Python.
And older Ricky Gervais too.
Oh, Ricky
Watched
Gervais.
a lot of stuff that he was in.
Yeah.
What was cool about us recording these 2 episodes, this was our first time in Double Stuff history that we went viral. I don't know if you guys know that. So when we were talking about the British comedies, we were talking about some of our favorite comedians. A lot of them are still living, and some of them we follow on Twitter. And so when we did our promos for it, because like I talked about Tommy Cannon and Cheryl was talking about like Miranda Hart, and we talked about a lot of our favorites. So we tagged them in our promos that we posted online, and we got retweets. At least for me, we got retweets from Tommy Cannon and from a Morecambe and Wise fan page, and they have thousands of fans.
Oh, good.
And they all looked at it, and so our very first promo got over 10,000 views.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
And I think at this point probably hit about 11,000 now. And we've never done that before.
Yeah.
So they heard us across the pond.
Yeah.
Yeah, these 2 random Black American girls from the Midwest
talking about
British comedy.
mostly from the 70s.
Mostly from the 60s and 70s and stuff. So we talked about some of our favorite. And a lot of them are... There's some that a lot of Americans know of, like you were mentioning, Jimmy Carr. You were talking about Monty Python. A lot of Americans know who they are. I feel like with the stuff that me and Charity like are very English. And if you are an American that will hear of them, it's not very common. Just because some of that stuff is very British. So I feel like with Morecambe and Wise, a few people probably know, but like Cannon and Ball, some of those are very well known in England, but not as much in America.
I think we also referenced the Goes Wrong show, which
Goes Wrong
we
show,
play
yeah.
here on Saturday nights at the local PBS station.
Yeah. So, and it's all comedy, so we
Used
like
to.
making ourselves.
Oh, we don't anymore? Oh.
That must have recently happened.
I didn't
Yeah.
know that. We can cut this part out. But yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah.
Oh,
they
sad day.
lasted longer than what I thought
I
because
know.
they were only 2
It finally
seasons.
went wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, did it really? I thought someone died or
No,
something.
that's him being poetic. But they do celebrate their 10-year anniversary this year. They've been
Oh.
Goes Wrong show started 10 years ago.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we'll edit that out, Alan. Yeah.
Picking up on the Goes Wrong show, did you guys see the Roxy? Because they did the play that goes wrong. Was that last year? 2 years
That
ago?
was-
I've never been
last
to
year.
the Roxy.
Okay. Yeah, it's a cute little setup they have,
Yeah.
but they
Yeah.
did a really good production of that.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was January of 2023.
Thank you.
Okay.
Once again, our historian. I'm like, it happened many
Yeah.
moons ago, whenever.
Well, because once upon a time I thought about auditioning for it, but that was just kind of hard to squeeze in with teaching and everything else trying to do that. But I briefly thought about auditioning.
So really quick, since we're talking about British comedy or just things that are funny, I want to hear your best British accent.
Oh, no.
Have you not been hearing it? I thought that I was killing it.
For the past 4 years, he's been doing a great Cockney accent.
It's our last season, so if you haven't done it yet, I want to hear it now. Say
Well, Governor,
something.
you don't want to hear none of that.
That did seem
Brilliant. Brilliant.
That seemed to be Oliver Twist.
There you go.
Can I have
Oh,
some
yeah,
more?
100%. Yeah.
Let me see. I'm trying to think of something English. I don't. I feel like, see, for me, okay, so during Christmas time, we mentioned this in season 1 of the podcast that we like watching a movie called Scrooge, and it's a 1970 musical. And I feel like the only time I can do a good English accent is if I watch that musical. So give me a couple hours.
You can do the. We'll all wait here.
Wait. So
You can do Mrs. Cratchit.
Mrs. Cratchit. Oh, yeah.
Band of our face indeed. Yeah.
Okay, let me think. Okay, give me a second.
My favorite,
I'll
my
it'll come to
favorite
me.
Mary Poppins quote is, "Who plays the dad?"
Oh,
Banks.
yes.
What's his name? Anyway, when he's
know his name.
he's arriving home and the nanny's leaving, he's like, "Let me help you with that. What a very pretty hat." And I always think, as I'm walking through Dylan's or whatever, if anybody's like has an accessory, I'm like, "What a pretty hat." What a very pretty
We
hat.
randomly quote that when they're singing the Step in Time song.
It's the master. That's my British one.
That, or when they're spinning him around, he's like, "What's all this? What's all this? What's all this?"
Okay, I guess that's my British contribution.
Okay, I just wanted to
With a
hear
very
it and
pretty
to laugh at it.
Go fly a kite.
Okay, so Mary Poppins, you were asking the name of the dad.
That's right.
David Tomlinson.
Yes.
okay.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yes.
I
If
can't
you were to
believe I didn't
ask
know.
me any other names, I could have told you, but I blanked on that as
Oh,
well.
speaking of, Glynis Johns, who played the mom, she just passed away at 100 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, so she made it to the 3
She made it
digits.
to 100. Yeah.
Well, if it wasn't for her, women would not have the right to vote.
yeah.
Sister suffragettes.
yeah.
Before you take out your song.
And then after her singing about Sister Suffragette, she's like, you know how this doesn't make Mr. Banks happy, so he hurries up and puts the sash away because he doesn't like the movement. And it took me decades to get that joke
Yep.
because I didn't understand. The
It is
whole
interesting
movement.
watching things when you're a bit older.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so we rabbit trail definitely, but okay. So if not British comedy, do you have a British actor that you guys really enjoy watching?
Well, I was going to say before we got off of like the British comedy thing, you mentioned Jimmy Carr earlier.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that British comedies do that's really interesting that we don't is the panel shows.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's
love
like 8 out of 10
those.
cats
Like
and
When I
stuff
Lied
like
to
that.
You.
Yeah, or like QI.
Yeah.
And they're just like really unique, and I saw a lot of like funny British comedians
Yeah.
through those. Like watching
Yeah.
some of those, or mainly YouTube clips of those.
Now, panel shows in the United States was pretty popular back in like the 50s, but I feel like we've tried to do some of those, and I just don't feel like they're funny to me.
Yeah,
I guess for me,
squares. That was the only thing
After
that-
Midnight's pretty
Yeah.
good now.
Yeah. Oh,
It's the new
okay.
Taylor Tomlinson one that comes on after Colbert.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I think it's pretty funny.
Taylor Tomlinson's hilarious.
She
really
is
funny.
hilarious. Yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, at least they were actually able to get some people that are good enough at comedy to actually get some good laughs. You're not just sitting around just doing a huh. That's kind of what happens to me. Like I give it a chance and I get a little huh, and then I'm like, man, I wish I could be laughing right now, but that's just me.
Well, about the American versions of British shows, so like we
Yeah.
were talking about Miranda earlier, the Call Me Cat.
Oh yeah, that's
That
the
was
American
sort
version.
of a
That is really with
Maya Bialik?
yes, thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a American version of Miranda.
Yeah, because she's the executive producer, right?
Really?
Miranda?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I didn't like that show that much. I tried watching it, but it had a laugh track, and it's just hard to watch like modern shows with laugh tracks.
See, this one. Well, okay. I feel like
I'm not saying it's hard to watch shows that had laugh tracks. I'm saying
Yeah.
like shows that are made now that have laugh tracks. I find
yeah.
kind of weird to watch.
no. I think we need to bring back live audiences.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing about British comedies I like. Like I'm a big fan of double acts, so that's why I like Morecambe and Wise, the two Ronnies. That's one that me and Charity like. Cannonball. They were double acts, but they did their stuff in front of a live audience, so you get that instant gratification to know if the show was funny or not. You would get that instant funniness, and I feel like we do need to bring that back at least with certain types of shows, But the other thing about British comedy I got into, which I mentioned in the episode, is that when I was in college, I hit this moment in my life where I felt like I had grown up with so much of the comedy I grew up with, it didn't seem funny anymore, and I'm like, I need to laugh, but this stuff is, I've been watching it all my life, and I started watching Monty Python. I gave that another chance because when I was watching it as a kid, I didn't understand anything, and so I was like, okay, I'm kind of getting it now. And then that's when I started watching Morecambe and Wise and stuff, and I think they're closer to my sense of humor than a lot of American stuff. At least based on what I've seen, I'm like, okay, I like this is how I would say it. I would say a joke like that.
Yeah.
So
If they
Yeah.
could bring more, are they still doing the American Would I Lie to You? I know we had referenced that in a former episode. We were talking about American shows doing the British thing.
If it is,
I don't know
I
if you guys have
highly
seen-
doubt, at least for me, it would be funny.
Since I'm not seeing it advertised anymore, I'm going to assume that was a bust as
Probably
well.
not.
yeah.
Now, I didn't mean to derail you earlier. You asked about our favorite British
Yeah,
actors.
yeah, do you
I
have a
like a lot
favorite?
of British. I mean, David Tennant, I really like. Ian
Well, he's
McKellen.
Scottish.
He's
Same
Scottish.
difference. Yeah.
That sounds something an American would say.
I like Ian McKellen
Yeah.
and like a lot of the stuff because we were just watching the X-Men, so it made me think of that.
Patrick Stewart. Right?
Christian Bale,
Yeah.
which is funny. A lot of our superheroes are British. Like a lot of our American superheroes, like Spider-Man, Tom
Yeah.
Holland, Superman, Henry Cavill,
Henry Cavill.
Yeah, almost anything
Benedict
that
Cumberbatch.
needs to be in a,
Benedict Cumberbatch.
a fantasy or a sci-fi, and it has to be in another world. Give them an English accent, and then
It makes it believable.
And then we believe.
Absolutely, it's totally fantasy.
This is
yeah.
how they talk
Because
on
the UK is a
Iraqi
magical,
or
magical
whatever it
place.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, girl. I mean, some people think it's kind of an old school thing, but I still like a good English accent.
Well, what a pretty hat.
Yes, but Alan, you're married.
And I love when British actors are like my favorite Middle Eastern actors, like Jonathan Rhys-Davies.
Yeah.
Oh,
Plays Salah, or Ben Kingsley as Gandhi.
Ben Kingsley, yeah. It was a long
So-
time before I realized that he was, because I always just thought he was just like whatever, stereotypically British.
Right.
But yeah, and it was many years before I put two and two together because I think I had seen him. I'm trying to remember what I saw him first in, but it definitely wasn't Gandhi. It was in something else.
Hopefully, it wasn't House of Sand and
I was just
Fog,
thinking that too.
No, it
as
was.
he plays like an Iranian colonel or captain or something.
Oh,
Yeah, it was
okay.
rough.
No, it wasn't that. Well, one of the early ones of a full length movie because he was on a couple TV shows. But when Hugo came out, I liked his character
Oh,
in
yeah.
Hugo.
He plays George Méliès.
Oh yeah. You played that very nicely, Doug. But yeah, and like so. But I know a lot of more. I guess I know more TV people
as
than
the
movie people.
as the chameleon or something in Iron Man 3 or something. What was he? It was like
Oh my gosh, you're right. He played Trevor. His character's name is Trevor, but he plays.
Oh, Trevor, huh?
Yeah, well, he plays the guy that's part of the Ten Rings. I'm totally blanking on the name now, but yeah, he's supposed to be a like he's like the Mandarin.
Mandarin.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was so confusing.
It was so confusing, but he's really just an actor named Trevor that's like playing the role, and then they had Guy Pearce play it. And it's like that's not better, guys.
Let's talk about another person that starts off goofy looking and then like all of a sudden looks like a dashing like gentleman or something.
Give him the right outfit and
Yeah.
I feel like
And a mouthpiece too with like
Yeah.
a snaggle tooth.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that was very specific.
Well, you haven't seen Iron Man 3, I take it.
I have not.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah. Still,
It's been a while for me.
It's
been a
very
while.
British. And there's pretty hats.
Oh, okay.
Lots of pretty hats.
One or two.
Well, that's my only reason of watching it.
Okay, well, speaking of pretty hats, this is
Anyway.
going to be a horrible transition. Does anyone have any hats in their pockets? I don't know.
What? Hey,
Oh,
All them,
pockets.
all them pocket.
I left my hat from my pocket at home. Sorry. My little pocket hat.
So this was another episode that the gentlemen were not
Yeah.
here with us for. So this was Sarah and I were doing a practice recording at the library, and we were like, we didn't prepare anything. What are we going to talk about? So I was like, why don't we just talk about what's in our
What's
purse
in our
right
purses.
now? Just
Very
whatever.
scientific.
Yeah, very random. But this does bring up the question of like, I mean, guys actually have pockets on their pants, which I'm slightly bitter about. But
You too.
no, girls'
More
pants.
frequently now, right?
We have pretend
depends.
pockets. Like we'll have a pocket,
Yeah.
and like it'll
They're
literally
only
be
this
like
deep.
this big.
Really?
I thought they were
Yeah.
bringing pockets into women's clothing now.
Well,
Some.
some dresses have pockets, but like a lot of the pants or jeans won't have pockets, or they won't have deep
or the-
pockets.
or the-
okay,
they
they're kind
sew-
of like
yeah.
coin pockets.
yeah,
Well, yeah, 'cause
like we
that's
have back
definitely all you can-
pockets, so like we could probably put our cell phone in our back pocket. But like if I
I hate
wanted
that.
to,
I hate that
I-
so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
I tell my daughter all
It's
the
not
time.
safe.
Yeah.
I'm like, you have no sense of surroundings,
Nope.
and
Yeah.
all I have to do is just pluck it
Yeah.
out of your back
Absolutely.
pocket.
Same thing with a wallet. Like I just
Yeah.
keep their wallet
Yeah.
in their back pocket all the
Yeah.
time, and A,
Yeah.
it's terrible for your posture.
Yeah.
To sit on
Yeah.
it, and B, it's so easy to get stolen.
yeah.
But that's been going on for hundreds of years. I
Hundreds.
feel like men have always put wallets in their back pocket.
Everybody just like weighs the risks, and they're like, eh.
Well, that's why I used to have a chain on mine.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So nobody could make off with it.
Okay, so since you gentlemen do not have purses,
Yeah.
What do you have in your wallet right now, or
Tell me
not
what,
your
you
wallet,
go
in your
first.
pocket?
Yeah.
Was it
Yeah.
besides an empty wallet with no money in it?
Yeah.
Give us your credit card number for no apparent
that's
reason.
right. And my cell phone, the biggest thing I carry around with me is my knife. It's just a pocket knife, just a handy tool to have.
That's not on.
So,
That's a knife.
and it makes a nice little flip sound.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's a Zelda one. My Sally got it for me for my birthday last year.
Aw,
nice.
What's a
Well,
very
isn't she
pretty
sweet?
You never know when you'll encounter knife activity.
That's really it. I
You
mean, that's like literally all I
always
keep
Need
holding.
a
It.
knife. If we've talked about this before, like
yeah.
if there's one thing that you need a knife.
Yeah, knife.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
For everything.
Get you out of danger. Get you into danger.
That's right.
whatever
That's right.
whatever direction you're
It's
feeling that day.
multifaceted.
Get you
My
into
wallet
packaging.
is my phone, so I do a wallet case over my phone.
Do you ever
which
worry about your like cards and stuff on your
I
phone?
want,
Yeah, I was gonna ask that too.
Never do.
Okay.
know?
because my
Was that used to be a
mom
thing
does
back in the
that.
day, where like if you put your phone in like the same pocket as like cards, it could like mess the,
The magnetic-
strip on the
it-
card?
I
Never
think
had
It
it.
probably was
most,
back in the
I think
day.
most phone holders have
Maybe
that
that's why
blocker
my
thing in the
balance
sleeve.
is always on zero. Hovering around zero.
That's the reason. That's the reason we're gonna tell.
Whatever works for you.
But then I always have, like you, I have a knife now. It's not as ginormous. It's just a little cricket, but it's a perfect little utility knife.
It's actually called a cricket.
It is.
Oh.
Well, actually, it stands for, I think it's called like Cross Creek or so. It's short for. It's
Okay.
an acronym for something.
Yeah.
Oh.
But I just know them as cricket knives, and they're perfect. But the biggest thing is the bottle opener on the back
Oh, that's
is
handy.
the perfect width for the set screws for how to connect the tripod to the cameras.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
So it's really
yeah.
quick little wrench. And then I always have a multi-tool, a little Leatherman mini, because instead of pliers, it has scissors, and that's always
Oh.
super handy.
Daddy used to have one a long time ago.
Yeah.
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 I used to play with it at church.
I have a lighter on me always, because you never know when you need fire, and I need it all the time. And then also I have a slimmed down version of nail clippers,
That's
And it comes with a file.
and
That's
it's a
handy.
file.
You
Yeah.
never know when you come across a manicure accident and you have to like hurry up and.
It's never for manicure. It's always for just a hangnail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is very handy
So
to
you can
have.
always tell a Boy Scout versus somebody who got kicked out of Boy Scout. I carry the knife. Alan's got everything else that needs to
I know,
survive.
Alan's like
One thing
prepared
that
for
I
everything.
never understood, and it came like standard in all multi tools from like Swiss Army or whatever, was the toothpick and the useless tweezers.
I use the
Oh.
toothpick all the time in my Swiss Army knife. When I have it, yeah, absolutely.
I never.
If you had like
used it.
crab in your teeth, you know,
Yeah.
like oh, it's like a bit of chip or whatever, and it got
I've
caught in
never
there. I
used it.
pop
Actually-
that bad boy out. Yeah,
Yeah.
Do you
Is it a-
clean that after you?
yeah. Let's say yes, so we don't gross everybody out that's listening. 100%. It's
I've
my
got a-
toothpick. It's been in my mouth.
I
I'm
got a
fine.
handy toothpick that I've used for 3 years, and it's
I'm
still
not
got that
sharing it
old
with other
piece of
people.
steak. Yeah, but you're putting crap back in your mouth.
It gets wiped off. How about that?
Ah, damn.
On my nice clean hand.
That's okay.
That's why you have.
It never
That's why you
crossed.
have fire.
That's right. It never crossed my mind to clean that toothpick off. Like to actually clean it and sterilize
Okay, well,
it. Not a
hopefully
single
I
time.
planted a seed in your mind.
I don't carry my Swiss Army knife anymore. I don't have it
okay.
anymore. But
Next
you're right.
time
The
you get
tweezers
one.
are worthless.
Tweezers are worthless. The corkscrews.
The corkscrew's worthless.
Yeah.
That reminds me of this Robin Williams.
Yeah.
With like the Swiss Army knife. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you plant that seed so it will pick it right out. And then, and then Alan will put fire in it, make it into a shish kebab or something.
Well, I actually looked at, so there were a couple of designs, like classic designs for pocket knives. And one is you have, it's two blades that fold out, and one is longer than the other one. The other one has sort of almost like a square or an angle end.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it's called a sheep's foot.
Okay.
And it's
Interesting.
actually used like by shepherds, farmers, and things like that for animal care, like animal husbandry.
Oh.
So,
I didn't know that.
I have a case knife like that. It's got
Okay.
the two blades and it's like that. I just don't carry it because it only goes in my pocket.
Yeah.
And I have other stuff in my pocket. I need something that
yeah.
clips.
And there's no
Yeah.
there's no sheep around, at least where you live. Right?
that you know of.
Yeah, that's right.
We don't know what's in his
There
house.
used to be a bunch, and then they found out I had a sheep foot.
I'm shearing every day.
That's why he works from home.
That's right.
He's really a sheep farmer all the
Absolutely.
time.
Like, why do you think I got this cool coat?
I will say to end us out, because in our episode we talked about some of the things that we had was a flash drive. We usually have
keep
a
a lot of
couple
flash
flash drives. And then from when I was doing a lot of video shoots, I would keep SD cards in my wallet because that was something that, you know,
You always forget.
yeah,
Yep.
you know, it's a rookie mistake, and you get to your shoot
Yep.
and you're like, oh my
Yep.
gosh, I can't record anything.
I've had to bail
Yeah.
out a couple of producers over the years.
Yeah.
For just, oh my gosh, I'm here. And I'm like, don't worry, I'll drive out. Because I've been
Yeah.
in the same position, and you're always, you don't want to, you're too embarrassed to admit it.
Yeah.
But you have to have it.
Yeah.
It's got to be admitted.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I used to keep a flash drive on my keychain. But as I've gotten older, I've taken more and more things off my keychain. I'm like, I
Yeah.
don't want to carry all this
Yeah,
stuff around,
same.
so I don't anymore. And
Oh,
obviously,
yeah.
flash drives aren't as useful as they used to be.
Yeah.
In a lot of
Oh,
situations.
speaking
so.
of, look at that. It's just as streamlined as fingernail clippers.
That's right.
Yep.
Those
But you know,
USB.
to talk about that though, like because we're all production people or have been in our past lives, you know, that's sort of the things that a person
like a
would
necessity.
regularly need. So like, you know, we talked about the flash drives and the SD cards, but you know, when I was doing production work and working in arenas and stuff, I always had a knife on me. I always had, you know, electrical tape or gaff tape or something. And then, you know, sometimes we would need various other tools. So that's kind of the what does a production person have in their tool
Yeah,
belt sort of
that's
thing.
true.
Those
Yeah.
are very
you know
typical.
what's always interesting too for like somebody that uses a lot of gaff tape? It's they either have rope, bungee, wire. There's something that
Yeah.
they've hodgepodge together to hold
Yeah.
their gaff tape.
Yeah.
You know?
Uh,
It's always interesting.
And that really quick, that makes me think. If you guys know Shannon, she works at the Orpheum Theater.
Oh, yeah.
She's the house manager, I think is her title. But if you follow her on social media, she'll do a post of what's in my pockets tonight. And so at the end of each show, or at the end of like a really big week or something, she'll say, "How did I have this stuff in my pockets?" You know, she'll take a
7
picture
vape pens.
of all of these things. You know, and so I'm like, that's just the life of a production person. Like we
Yeah.
have the things in our tool belt, but you know, you're backstage and you pick up some
Yeah.
random stuff and you forget that it's in your pocket,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
at the end of the night, you're like, "What is this?"
Yeah.
You know, so that's always fun to see her post at the end of a show.
That's interesting.
It's funny too because we were talking about pockets and like pants. I used to wear cargo pants all the time, so I used to carry a lot
Yeah.
more stuff on me.
Yeah.
When you said because I was looking at all the stuff and
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't carry any of that stuff on me now. But I realized your wallet is your phone, same
Yeah.
thing. So it takes
Well,
up
not
less
only
pockets,
that, but 3 of the 4 things that I described earlier, because this is slimmed down, it fits in the mini pocket of my
Oh,
pocket.
yeah.
oh, okay, the little coin pocket.
The
yeah.
coin pocket.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, it's like pocketception. It's like
Oh,
the
that makes
pocket
a lot
for the
more
pocket.
sense.
inside
That's right.
pockets.
I need to change up my pocket game now.
Yeah.
Just
you
go
can
back
do
to
it.
the cargo pants.
Yeah.
I do. I know, right? That would be great.
Next time he's gonna come in like jingling and having like, "Hey guys,
I'm ready.
I'm always jiggling. My wife can find me constantly because I have this on my keychain. I have this little Boba Fett, and it hits the key and it makes a very specific sound when I'm walking. So anytime
okay.
we're in like a store or anything, I don't have to worry about finding her. She'll find me.
She'll find me.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to have the Walmart attendant call
Nope.
you on the intercom.
As long as I'm on the move, she can find me.
Oh, guys. Okay, so at least we got to spend the last hour talking about all the utilities that we keep
That
in
a
our
production
person pockets.
needs. Yep.
That's right.
So, guys, you know what you should do with the stuff that's in your pocket.
You have
like
us in your back pocket. You can listen to us online, Sarah. And where can they listen to us online?
Well, you can talk about. Oh, sorry, I was in your pocket. Stupid joke. You can binge listen to all of our episodes, guys. You can just go to doublestuffpod.com. That's our website. You can check us out on all different platforms. Also on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Double Stuff Podcast, and on Twitter at Double Stuff P, and that's the letter P.